Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and today I'm doing a video on one of my favorite subjects. And my favorite subject is a period of the 90s when comics looks like they were going through their second, their I guess their third revitalization post the Image thing, which was the Legend books. Now I love the Legend stuff, all of it. The Legend, the Icon, which obviously, do I need to name them again? As I've said before, you see two of them here, Frank Miller, Geof Darrow. We also had John Byrne. We had Mike Mignola, Arthur Adams, Dave Gibbons, Paul Chadwick, Walter Simonson. We had Gary Gianni. We had Mike Allred. And the last one who didn't get the book out, which was Bruce Timm, right? This is a trade. The trade is kind of hard to go through, but I want to show you some stuff at the end. We're going to go through the big guy, right? This is one of the most action-packed comics of the 90s. Second would be the second miniseries of the Super Patriot that was from Image, right? So these books, that and the Super Patriot, out at the same time. I've done a video on that. I already did my joke about this. Oh yeah, so before we get into all of that stuff, right? The big guy. Oh man, the big guy. Don't have it here. Not sure. No, I think Jim. Who is it? Frank Miller wrote an issue of Spawn, right? And in that issue, he had a pinup. Because it had been announced that Frank Miller and Geof Darrow were doing an Image book. They were going to do the big guy. And this is the image that was in there. We see Spawn, we see the big guy, we see Rusty, and them against this wacky mercenary with chainsaw and guns. Right? So that was the sell, right? That they were going to do an Image book, right? And ultimately, since Frank Miller was, I think, going to do either, it was Dinosaur at first, and then that fell apart, and the Dinosaur group had broken up into, what's the name? Bravura and Legend, right? So they took this character when they didn't have a name for him yet. They just had him, and I think they might have had Rusty's name. And Lennon Varley looked at it and asked them, when are you guys going to do the big guy? And from there, the big guy got his name, right? So let's just go through it, right? Now, Geof Darrow and Frank Miller, they had done, I got it here somewhere. They did Hard Boiled, which was a little less hard-boiled, but it was a little, I guess it was originally planned as like a hard-boiled thing with his sort of artwork. Let me get to it, I can find the trade. Hold on, guys. Got it here somewhere. Nope, I'm not seeing it. Oh well, there it goes. We're not done. Went to have it over here. Not seeing it, but they did a mini series for Dark Horse called Hard Boiled, which was very graphic. And Frank Miller said as he did with Electro Assassins, he had put together a plot, and Geof Darrow went away and did the work, and then Frank Miller threw out the plot. Threw out his whole, I think, he had a script ready. So he threw out the script and redid it. And he made it very sparse and made it kind of very simple to go with the nutty art. Now this, he said, same process happened, but the difference was that to work with this story, Frank Miller would put his Stan Lee hat on there. So while he was doing it, this would be one of his more have the most amount of dialogue that Frank would use. Frank would be very, terse. They'd be very simple and to the point, just allowing the action to really kind of tell the story, and the dialogue kind of accompany the work. This, he would fill the gaps in this story, right? So there isn't really much gaps with so much action and so much Where's Waldo type stuff or stuff to look at. It starts out in Japan right here, but he basically fills it up with the Stanley type of approach with captions and descriptions, right? Not going full on Lean Wen, but just kind of something in the neighborhood of Stanley. But Stanley sort of had that voice of the narrator in there, right? So they're going through this test. Obviously, they have Talking Monkey in here. They really added a lot of stuff where it's very simple, like one line where Frank really just went to it, right? So they're going through it, and they see that their test is changing, and something is not going right. And then it just breaks free and goes out, right? And it's like this evil talking Godzilla type monster, right? That's going after Japan, right? It was a classic kind of story that you see in a Godzilla movie with a subtle difference, right? And the storytelling here is very clear, right? There's a lot of detail, and it's very easy to look through, right? So it's kind of perfect for this sort of thing, right? So he's destroying all this stuff and killing the people and whatnot, talking about the ants, right? And swallowing them. And then we see them even dissolving into the people's mouth. It's just really, right? And then his saliva is making the people turn into monsters. It's just very graphic stuff, right? And then they're eating people. It's just really wacky monsters. Very well. You could spend 2 hours on this. I'm going through it very quickly, right? But then of course the army and troops come out there. They're taking they're taking their chances on it, and this we kind of get you in the feel like you're in the plains. You got the view. Well, no, the helicopter's over there. But you get the view from right here. This one, right? Then another one like. And he slowly takes out all of the helicopters. And this interesting storytelling bit that he has here, right? You almost can feel the creature walking, the way the art's going, like this sort of peeking out through the side of the street and a tank. And then you see that, it's like really leading you to him kind of walking, where he's like kind of using perspective to add motion, even though it's all stills. And look what he made short work of the army. I guess we can sit on this, and there's a ton of stuff here giving you the feel of Japan, but at the same time, the amount of destruction, even capturing one of their missiles. There's just so much going on. All those little monsters there. The level of detail in this sort of thing, right? And I'm going too fast, but you should buy it. There's a larger one. There's a coloring book type of one, right? So they've already done that. So they decide to send Rusty out as the last line of defense, right? And he said, this is a big chance. It might be a prototype, but a pretty darn good one. And he's sent off, right? Another nice shot of flying. Plan is to punch right through him. And the monster catches him. It's a nice storytelling bit. All of that. And dropping and then getting hit by the tail. Knocked through a building and dropped to the floor. And he feels real bad about what happened. He's like really depressed, but then he gets stepped on. Right? And then the self-doubt of the robot is just the best. Right? So they've done everything. He said, I got this gift from America. I'm going to call the Supreme Warrior. Right? But is there time? Is there time? And they hit the button because they hit the building. And at that same time, he's about to kill him. But he has enough strength to hit the button. Right? And they go from satellite to this the Persian Gulf. Then we see the big guy turn on. Next story, the big guy kicks butt. Right? Nice picture of Rusty. Right? The boy robot. And then we see how the big guy takes off, right? And the layout and design is just amazing. Like this sort of stuff. There was a cartoon that was out there too, but this shot here really feels like someone's in a cockpit. And the blast off in his sort of missile type rocket. And as he goes, he deploys his bombs. And then the creature tries to bite it. He's able to dodge, evasive. Right? I should do another one. Because I have the comic of, I definitely got to do another one because I really like the big guy, right? And then he decides he's going in. So he leads from his ship, his rocket ship. He's got 2 bombs. And it gets right into the creature's nose and blows up his face. It takes him out. Right? But then now he has to deal with the smaller creatures, right? And he said, I mustn't forget they're very good citizens, regular folks. And he's going to try not to hurt them bad so he can go back to their regular life, right? So they come attack, and we see the big guy go at it. He's trying to tell them they're human, right? And then find a way to destroy his intestine. And he's trying to force them to fight, but the action is him just beating the hell out of them with a truck, with a Volkswagen or something, right? And then he's getting through to them, and some of them are saying, baby. So Frank is just kind of adding some interesting stuff here to kind of flesh out what's happening. So we have this crazy violence, but we see the big guy punching through people. This guy's going to have a heck of a headache, but he'll live. And then he knocks a little pepper with harmless gel cap anesthetic bullets. It's just regular bullets. It's working. The dose is pretty strong enough. Pretty soon, the only kind of bullets are left, the ones that kind of kill. And I won't kill them. I won't. This isn't their fault, right? So it's like he is doing his best stand, adding to the story. I was reading the paper, some of them, and they're fighting it, but at the same time, the visuals it adds to the insanity of the thing, right? And then they are overcoming him, right? I think, this one is the easiest to do because it's not as, because the Shaolin Cowboy is a little more gorier. But oh man, I could do the big guy and Geof Darrow stuff like forever, right? And he brings the house. He says it's gonna hurt, but it's for your own good, right? So he gets to stop all of them, and he's like, he senses they're a man in there, so they're all knocked out or dead. Or they probably look like they're just knocked out. And he stomps on the big guy, right? The good guy made it out in time, punches him in the jaw, and that punch sends him reeling. Look at that shot. Wow. But his saliva comes out and hits his metal, and then the metal starts turning into an organism. And it doesn't feed off a genetic, it's a molecular thing, right? So he's fighting it and praying. So then and he wins against the tiny organism, right? So the big guy, after getting knocked down with a punch into the train, he tells everyone to get out. He's going to take the train with him, right? And look at this. Good Lord, I haven't looked at this book in who knows how long. I used to look at this book all the time, right? And ties the creature up with the train and then flies off and tosses the creature. And then the order is given, they send a missile as the creature falls in there and reduced to atoms, right? The big guy's only probably lost a robotic arm, right? And Frank Miller said that he probably buried somewhere deep within in the big guy is a human, right? And they decide it's a gift. Rusty is his take with him, but then he hears some sort of robot thing taking the cows and head off, and then Rusty follows and says the end for now. Now they did only, that's a nice shot of the two of them together. I think there's one other addition, but it's like on the beach and very slow. It's like basically a lot of talking, so you read the side stories. But for my last bit, they had these mock covers. I think they were stuff that were sent in by kids, and they kind of updated them. So we have the big guy versus Mr. Satellite, Comrade Croc, the lunch that came to dinner, the don't buy tie, the propaganda issue, Moon Pig, the Bride of Ed, and then like the comic books used to have the informational comics. So it's Rusty own book, which is a informational comic book. We have Captain Chernobyl, Dr. Spiderhead, My Daddy the Dinosaur, and the two original covers, right? And the only other thing here is the thing that was in Spawn, which I showed you guys. And is anything else? Oh, and this other shot here with it was in Ash. It was supposed to be, well, no, I don't know. I think this is Ash right there. So I'm not sure if they were in talks to do anything, but I'm not sure where that was originally. I can't tell you. So there you go, and that's a great ending for it. I don't know what else to say, but if you don't have it, there's a larger edition, which is a black and white, which is printed at the original size. There's a new collection with the new story. That's like them at a beach fighting off some sort of monsters in the background of people on the beach, which is interesting. But I just kind of wanted more of this stuff. So at this point, there was like all the legend stuff was just really like the pinnacle of the 90s. I mean, I can't say the pinnacle of comics because you have Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. You have the original stuff, the DC by Siegel and Schuster, but it was kind of the next thing. There was some other books outside of Legend, like what was it, Nexus, Barry Windsor's Storyteller, that kind of said this is the next thing for comic books. Some of the Aurora stuff, and I think The Clandestine by Alan Davis. So, but here we go. A nice, fun, but I went through it quickly, but you could sit around and look at the detail on here and kind of just spend days looking at this and finding little details. And, so there it is. That's it. Spinner rack out.